Boy howdy, has it been a couple weeks, and I am ready to come back. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on between me, Godsbane, Viz, the anniversary of Toriyama's passing being recently. There's just been a lot of stuff going on, and I needed to take some time away, and I'm back. Here I am. I promise I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not dead yet. So let's talk about it. But really quickly, hi guys, my name is ArtCrumbs. This is my untitled diary of a Mangaka podcast, and as the name implies, today is more of a diary episode where I'm going to be kind of talking about, hey, here's what I've been doing, here's what I've been up to, here's why I've been away, here's why there's not been updates in 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so what's been keeping me away? A couple things. First one is I've been busy with another project, but the thing that really pulled me away was, ironically, both the entries are Godsbane. Godsbane's anniversary was February 14th, and February 14th was chosen not because I hate Valentine's Day, but mainly because that was the day that I submitted the very first assignment that ever contained a Godsbane character, which originally was Auk, sort of like this cute little like fox creature who was kind of dumb. It was supposed to be more of like a cute, silly little animation, and then it ended up turning into like this really big like manga project. And I was trying to, it was February 9th, and I was trying to finish recording some of the episodes that were like upcoming, and a lot of them were things like, what is Godsbane's history, and let's talk about motivation and burnout and art block. And so I was trying to record like all of these episodes, but I was struggling so hard because I felt like I was such a loser that Godsbane wasn't like 4 volumes long by now. I mean, it's been 15 years. Why do I only have 3 chapters out? And so I sort of just like the longer I kept recording, like the worse my mental state kept getting. And like I kept having cars in the background. I was having like my neighbors were moving out, and so there was a lot of noise. And like in the last few weeks renovations have been going, and so there's also been a lot of noise, and I've just not been feeling it. You know what I mean? When you're like, no, I'm done. No, F this. Like, I'm going back to bed. It was like those kind of days for like the last couple weeks. And I kind of just gave up. I was like, you know what? F this. I don't want to do anything today. And so I just was like, let me go reach out to some friends. Let me go reach out to some mentors. Let me reach out to Hisashi-san and Viz and like try to get some bearing as to like why I'm feeling this way. And over the weekend, or over the following week, sorry, like leading into Valentine's Day and Godsbane's anniversary, and like the closer I got to the 14th, the like worse my mental state was getting. And after talking with my therapist on Wednesday, which I believe would have been the 12th, I was just in a horrible headspace, y'all. I was in a horrible headspace. Some of you guys got the DMs from me, and so I had some conversations, but I also reached out to Hisashi-san and was like, hey, like I'm not feeling good about myself, I'm not feeling good about my progress, I feel like I'm moving too slow. And like the big fear that I was really having at the time was I was really worried about feeling or like becoming Takeshi Obata, in the sense that like he's a really good drawer, not necessarily a good writer, and he's kind of been more or less like resigned to drawing other people's stuff, and that's not what I want for me. I'm not saying that he's forced to do that, because he's a grown-ass person who can make his own decisions, but like that's the fear that I have, is like becoming one of those people, because like I've always wanted to tell my own stories, and I have like 14 stories that I want to tell. Like I've got 13 stories outside of Godsbane that I want to write, and then I want to finish writing, and then I want to draw, and I want to share with the world. And so feeling like I can't get serialized, and I can't do one-shots at a more reasonable pace, I was just getting really like depressed and was having a mental slog, and feeling ashamed that I'm moving so slowly. And I have like such a long history of Godsbane. I'm like, why am I not further in life already? And so after talking with Hisashi-san, I realized that right now is not the time to work on a one-shot. He kind of asked me, like what's going on, like what is the thing that you want that's like got your attention right now, and I'm like, it's Godsbane. which is funny because that's also the thing that was giving me my problem. And so I kind of realized that, sort of like after sitting with it over another weekend, so I sat with the thought, like what about Godsbane is drawing me to it right now, even though it's the most frustrating thing right now. Like, it was both like the best and worst thing for me, and I realized that it was, I want to submit. Like, I need to know. I just need to know. And so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna get the thing. I need to know if I'm good enough or not. So I went ahead and took the next 2 weeks to get it done. Hi guys, editorial ArtCrumbs here. I just realized as I was listening and editing this video that I never actually specified what I submitted Godsbane to. So throughout like the next rest of the video, I'm talking about submitting Godsbane to the Viz Originals series program, and going through the making of the pitch process, which I'll kind of be talking about, and I'll be sharing like screenshots and stuff. So hope you enjoy. Thanks. And I realized that I've been putting off submitting Godsbane for 2 years. Because, well, just about 2 years. I mean, I technically knew about Originals back in 2018, but I knew back then that I was not ready for it. I didn't even have, like, my story fully solid yet. And then in, 2023, after I had, like, the portfolio review session, and I, met the Originals editor and talked with her over email afterwards, Godsbane was too long. I had some work to do with my character design. I had some work to do with my art style, which was, like, too close to Inuyasha, and the story was too long. It was at 6 volumes, and I wanted it to be 3 to 4, and so I had a lot of editing I had to do. And so I was like, you know what, I just gotta get this done. So I did. That's what I did. But while I was in the process of editing the script, I realized that I didn't have 40 chapters worth of Godsbane stuff. I had closer to 50. Even after already cutting out what I thought was 2 volumes worth of stuff, the 4 volumes worth of stuff that I left was actually 5 volumes worth of stuff. Like, once I actually started working out like what's going to be on what page, and like that's why it took me 2 weeks, is because I already know roughly what happens on every single page of each of the 4 volumes that I have planned. Like, that's why it took me 2 weeks to go to do my script, is because I was going through every single page. And then I realized that I had like 10 extra chapters that I needed to get rid of. And that took me about another couple days, and a couple really long showers. Where I'm just like, have you guys noticed that like when you stand in the shower, and I hate to say this, or you sit on the toilet, you have like your best ideas. So I would just like this is gonna sound really silly, my shower has a mist function. And so basically what I did is I turned on the shower, I sat on the floor of my shower, and I just like meditated for like 30 minutes. I feel awful because of like the water that I probably wasted. I mean, to be fair, like I actually took my shower, like I actually like did my bathing and hygiene stuff while I was in there, but like once I was done, I just sat on the floor of the shower just like trying to think and like clear my head. And so I'm like washing me and I'm thinking, and I'm like washing my hair and I'm thinking, and then I just kind of like sit there on the floor and I'm like think like there's got to be a solution for this. And thank God I did figure it out. Like I did find a solution. And so I was able to then go in and edit it, and then after I was all done with the edits, I realized that like I had 1 spare chapter. I had 39 chapters written, and I'm like, oh, I have time for an epilogue. So I have like 1 little chapter of epilogue at the end that I'm actually really pleased with. I think it ties up everything really nicely as far as like Aros's character development, and so I think it works really well. Hopefully Viz will like it too. I think hopefully they'll like it. And who knows, maybe they'll feel comfortable with like giving me more than 4 volumes. That's just like the initial submission that I need to make. Like, for example, Devil's Candy is more than 5 or more than 4 volumes. So like, I don't know, like maybe I'll be one of those too. But I guess at this point, I just felt like I needed to, anyway, oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So like, I went ahead and made the submission on Tuesday. And I was so nervous, right? I was so nervous. And then I'm sitting there on Tuesday and, you know, like, not checking my email every 30 minutes like I really want to. And then I think like 2 days later, I get an email back. Like, I get a response. And I'm like, oh, that was really fast. That's not good. So I was like panicking because I'm like, there's no way it took them 2 days. And so like I open up the email and they're like, oh, can you send files that are a little less crunchy? Because the size limitation for the submission portal is really small. It's like 10 megabytes or something. And I got them a lot. I didn't quite get them that small, and my visitor was like, you can send them a little bigger if you want, because these are really crunchy. And I'm like, oh, okay. that was literally the purpose of the email, of the response. And so I'm like, okay. So like I spent like 3 days trying to find the right settings so that I could export it to be small enough within like the limitation that she set as far as like size limitation, but then also like trying to make them not look like utter shit. Because they did look like shit. They did look terrible. They looked awful. And so I was like, oh god, like let me figure this out. But I did eventually figure out the settings I needed. And now I just wait. Like I was told that it would probably take like at least a month to hear back, which is fine. I expected it to take like 2 months. So like, you know, like a month would be great. That'd be awesome. You know, so until then, like since then I've just been kind of thinking like I feel so much better. Like I feel like I'm just at the point where I just need to take the leap and to hope that there's a soft landing on the other side, right? And like if there isn't a soft landing on the other side, that means it's gonna hurt and it's gonna suck, and there's no doubt that it's gonna suck. And like I'm sure I'm gonna get upset for a little bit afterwards. I feel like that's normal. I feel like that's reasonable, because like this is like a huge potential for me to completely change the course of my life, right? Like that would be a really big deal. And like right now, kind of like the expectation that I have is that I'm going to get feedback, but it's, you know, but I'm going to be like, hey, they are going to be like, hey, like here's some feedback, either resubmit, try again, or this isn't or we like the story, but it isn't for us. Like that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. Because I feel like with Godsbane, it's a little violent. It's maybe a little too adult. Just looking at like the existing Viz Originals series, I feel like it's a little too much for Viz, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to stay optimistic, you know, like I'm a believer in manifesting stuff, so like I don't want to assume that it's gonna get rejected. Like the big thing I'm looking for is feedback and growth, and what I'm hoping is that Viz will say, hey, like this has potential, let's make it the best it can be together. Like that's honestly what I'm hoping for. But if I do get rejected, like I will have hopefully the choice to either resubmit or go fully indie with Godsbane specifically. Like I'm still going to submit one-shots, and so that's kind of like the next stage in my life. Is just like, okay, well now that you've done that, what are you gonna do now? Zoom, I guess. I'm gonna go zoom. So like the next stage in my life, I don't know if you guys heard the car, but the next stage in my life is going to be like working on one-shots, and like trying to go about it that way. And I feel like, man, like I guess I wanted to share this kind of stuff. I know I'm kind of rambly. Hopefully this video's not gonna get too long, but like I wanted to talk about this part, one, because this is a diary, right? This is a diary style podcast, and I just kind of wanted to share the feelings of like what it's like to be going through this process. I feel like a lot of people focus on, or maybe they expect, like mangaka in their life, as far as like people that are of like a higher, like they're further in their career than them, to be optimistic and happy and motivational and like, oh my gosh, they never get tired, they never run out of energy, they're always go, and that's so inspiring. And that's not the case. Like, sure, I'm sure there are some mangaka that are like that, but like realistically, even mangaka are human beings, right? Like they're not gods, they're not immune to having feelings. So like we're humans, we're individuals, right? And so like going through this process is both like the most exciting and terrifying and depressing experience of my life because I'm uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. But being uncomfortable isn't necessarily a bad thing, because like when we're doing something outside of our comfort zone, that means we're learning something. That means that we're growing. And if you guys don't know what I mean, I guess I'll further explain. Like, normally discomfort is a bad thing. We see it as bad. It means that you're gonna get embarrassed, or you're gonna get hurt, or any other, like, it's a fear-based thing to feel uncomfortable, right? For whatever reason, we fear being uncomfortable. Maybe it makes us feel like we're not cut out for something, or maybe we would rather other people take the lead and we can sit back and have our lives be easier. But being uncomfortable, being outside your comfort zone, that is how you grow. Because if you're doing something new, that means you're learning new things, you're learning new skills, you're learning new information. So you're growing. And so embracing the idea of like being uncomfortable is good, and it turns like something that's a negative experience into a positive experience. We can learn from negative experiences just as much as we can learn from positive experiences. Positive experiences reinforce things, right? So like, let's say you've been practicing a solo, you play trumpet, you've been practicing a solo for a really long time, and you are super nervous, you go out on stage, you're really anxious. That anxiety isn't just fear, it's also excitement. It's like, I have this opportunity to show everyone what I'm capable of, and you should embrace that and go for the excitement part of it, rather than I'm scared, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna do a really bad job, I'm gonna just embrace the excitement of it. Because what if you do well? Another example is my Japanese classes. Like, one of the things that I'm really good with, I'm good with kanji, I'm good with reading, I'm good with writing, but you want me to speak? Suddenly, see, I'm choking up just thinking about it. Suddenly, I forget all of the Japanese that I've ever learned. I don't know any more Japanese if you ask me to speak. And then if you ask me to read something out loud, it's like, duh, 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 duh. Like, I can't, like, because what my brain is trying to do is it's trying to translate and read and speak at the same time. And so you gotta get used to thinking in Japanese, you gotta get used to reading in Japanese, you gotta get used to listening in Japanese, like not listening to it, translating it, and then having an English response, and then translating it to the Japanese response, and then saying it. You have to get used to like thinking, feeling, listening, hearing, all in Japanese, and that's how you get better with languages. And that's what I did with my Spanish classes. For example, I had a group of Japanese folks come into the bar. They were young, they were like college students, and they didn't speak English very well, and they wanted to order like American whiskey, and they wanted to try American alcohols. I mean, they were old enough, and I found out that one of them knew Spanish. And so here I am, an English person, an American person, talking to a Japanese person using Spanish, because we both happen to know Spanish. So like, it made for a really, really fun experience where I was able to serve them and to provide them with drinks and tell them about it using Spanish. Unfortunately I don't get to use my Spanish that often. That's why, I use like the Hello Talk app, as it's really great for like practicing both my Japanese and my Spanish with like native speakers. It's really helpful. Like, I'm not sponsored, I'm just saying that that's a study tool that I use to practice, and it's really, really great. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is that being uncomfortable is okay. It's actually good to feel uncomfortable, and sometimes I feel like the people who seek out being uncomfortable are the people that are going to learn the most. And I feel like we judge the feelings of like being insecure, being nervous, being stressed, being uncomfortable. I feel like we judge ourselves really harshly for feeling that way, when we should be embracing those things, because whenever you're feeling those things, that means that you're in a situation where you're going to be learning, you're going to be growing, you're going to be becoming like a better person at like whatever it is that you're learning from that experience. So like, it's been a long video, sorry. like I guess like with that, I have a lot of other editing I gotta do. I was actually in the middle of editing another episode, the one that's about like motivation, art block, procrastination, perfectionism. I'm in the middle of editing that episode right now, and I just got like struck by like, you know what, I should do this. So like, sorry if it seemed kind of like ad-lib, it kind of was. I have like a simple outline and I still got distracted, but yeah, so that'll be the next episode. Again, like motivation, art block, perfectionism, like those kinds of things, like how to recognize them, how to deal with them, just some suggestions. And sorry I kind of got rambly, sorry this wasn't super like, this is how you do this in manga, this is how you do this thing. You know, I want this like, you know, diary of a mangaka podcast to kind of be like, I want it to be a diary too. Like, I want to just share and ramble and talk about things that I feel like maybe other people don't talk about because it makes them uncomfortable. But I'm not afraid to lay myself on the sword for you guys, because that means that maybe I can learn from myself later. If I'm lost or struggling, I can watch this episode back and learn from it, or maybe you guys can learn from my mistakes so that you don't have to deal with those things. You know, that maybe you can avoid problems that I've had to deal with. So anyway, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for being here. I super duper appreciate it. I will see you all soon. My name is ArtCrumbs, and this has been the Untitled Diary of a Mangaka podcast. Take it easy and have a great week. Ciao!